Hello and welcome to this week's Rotherham Advertiser SportsChat Podcast. Joining me around the table this week is Miller's correspondent David Beddows.
Hello.
And news editor Michael Upton.
Hello.
Gentlemen, another podcast and another intense day at the New York Stadium, Dave. It were a day for all emotions. Lows have been played off the park for 80 minutes against a very, very strong Derby team. Lows of not even Lee Camp's wonderful saves in the first half been able to stop Rotherham from falling behind. Loads of the Derby fans taunting for pretty much the full game, and then the shock high of coming back in the last 9 minutes. That's why we're football fans in today.
It is absolutely what a turnaround. The feeling pre-game was that this was going to be a game too far for Rotherham after going to the well to beat Wednesday and then Middlesbrough, and it looked that way, didn't it? For all intents and purposes, for the full 80 minutes, or should we make that 82 minutes before Danny Ward got on back, and then just 3 goals out of nothing. 3 goals out of nothing. I mean, Derby argued to throw it away, but you've got to salute Rotherham just for battling to the last.
Michael, where do you stand on this? Is it do you look at the 80 minutes that, like Dave said, was a game too far? Clearly, the injuries and suspensions taking the toll as well. Or do you look at it as this never-say-die attitude, this Warnock factor that they've got now that seems they can't be beaten?
Well, I never thought I'd say Neil Warnock, football genius, but perhaps it's got to come round to that. You can't ignore the first 80 minutes when Derby were too good. And let's face it, it's another good side. Finally an example of a top, near the top of the table side actually performing well against Rotherham. There's got to be an element of complacency and tiredness in the Derby ranks. But credit to Warnock, freshened his side up, brought subs on, and that has made a difference.
Dave, against Middlesbrough midweek, it was all about his half-time words of wisdom. Rotherham came out in the second half and looked like a different team against Middlesbrough. This time, that didn't work. It were another 30 minutes before we saw the team really kick on. It was substitutions this time, weren't it? Grant Ward, Joe Newell and Leon Best all three had a part in a goal at least.
But I think if there had been anything like sensible game management on Derby's part and the manager Darren Wassell, they'd have closed that game out. Had that been Mourinho,
brought on 2 strikers at 3-0.
He'd have actually scrambled the game out at 3-0. They took the defensive midfielder off, put 2 strikers on. Confident, yeah. Do
you think he was thinking about goal difference? Do you think he was thinking we can get 5 or 6 here?
Maybe. I mean, it was naivety in the extreme, weren't it? They should have been getting 3 points. I mean, Derby have got a soft underbelly. That's why they're not in the top 2. They choked last season, they've been wobbling this season. It is there in them, but from 3-0 up with 8 minutes to go, they should not be drawing that game.
There's an element of complacency there I think teams do have against Rotherham United. Little Rotherham United, little ground, plucky side, bottom of the league. There may have been an element with 3-0 up with cruising. And it was interesting, Wassell after the game was more or less crucifying his players. He needs to be looking at himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there seemed to be an air of complacency from the Derby fans behind that goal as well. In the 2,500-ish of them, they were taunting Rotherham for a long period of the game, taunting former player Lee Camp as well. And then all of a sudden, it all just backfired on them.
The joy of football. I mean, you can't blame them really, because I thought Rotherham would, even at 2-0. I thought it would end and buried. They've been so dominant. I mean, Chris Martin were running the show, Thomas were running riot, and it just looked like it was only going one way. It was an astonishing result.
It's really ironic as well that in the last few weeks we've been talking about defensive solidity, and that's come to the fore with some really good ground out results, 1-0 wins, and it was actually the attacking potency we've been lacking that got us out of a hole this time. Delighted to see Leon Best finally on the pitch, and then able to repay some of the faith that was put in by signing him in the first place.
And it just goes to highlight as well, doesn't it, the fact that in this league you can never take your foot off the gas as Derby did. In this league you can never predict what's going to happen, as Rotherham have proved over the last couple of weeks. And with someone like Neil Warnock in the dugout, Dave, that anything can be possible.
Absolutely. I mean, here we are. We've been looking at this, difficult of all months, March, and here we are. What are we now? 7 points from the first 3 games in March, which is.
You would have took that at the start, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, I'd have thought 6 out of for a full 4. I said 6 points would be good. So we're well into bonus point territory here, aren't we? And I mean, you've pointed out as well, Joe, about Rotherham's record against the I teams, and 9 to go. No one to fear, is there really?
It's a strange league as well. I mean, who'd have said a month ago that Fulham would be dragged back into it? Bristol City looked like they were cruising away from it. They've been dragged back into it as well. It's not just about MK anymore.
No, well, MK are winning as well, aren't they? And the two teams, MK and Rotherham, winning together, have sort of pulled them other ones back in, haven't they? It's become sort of like a 6-team league down there instead of just the 4 that it was maybe 2 weeks ago.
It's as you just feel like Bristol City.
They've got a good team.
They've got a good team.
Terrible goal difference down. They only need to lose a couple of games.
Yeah.
They'll be back in it.
Well, this is it. I mean, Fulham can't defend. They score lots of goals, but they can't defend. That's what's leaving them there. So it could be a 5 or 6 team league. This, couldn't it?
And apart from Saturday's game, we've been saying for a while that it's the teams that get the 1s and the 2-0 wins that get out of it. You're not going to save yourself from relegations with 3-3 draws.
No, you're not. That's
or
true.
4-3 wins. You're going to get it off clean sheets.
But at 80 minutes, that point is a bonus point.
Absolutely, of course it is, and it'll send the fans home buoyant as well. Nobody was talking about the first 8 minutes; they were all talking about the comeback.
Yeah, it feels like a win.
Media were talking about the comeback as well. It's got to feel like a win. So, and remaining on that kind of unbeaten run as well is very important.
Dave, just to look forward then, Ipswich on Saturday. It doesn't get any easier whatsoever. Ipswich away. We said that the Derby game for 80 minutes was a game too far. The key difference here is that they've got a week off now to really refresh. Greg Halford comes back from suspension. I know there's high hopes that Richard Wood is going to be back fit for that game. Can they go to Ipswich and get something?
It's about me. I mean, at home, we've been saying game too far. Like you said, they've got a full week to prepare for this and go at it. Ipswich, I mean, Mick McCarthy, what a canny manager he is. And
almost in the Neil Warnock brand itself.
Absolutely, they're very angular in size, they're strong, they're physical, they're disciplined to a T. A tough proposition on their own patch. I mean, it's a meeting of minds, isn't it, in this game in a way. It's another one of them, would you take a point from it? You probably would. But the way things are going at the moment, anything's possible.
Michael, it just goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, 2 months ago, we wouldn't have dreamt of this sort of point tally from March. It just goes to show that going to Ipswich with this kind of confidence next Saturday, it bodes well for the home run, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You've no idea what's going to happen with them now. A month ago, or 6 weeks ago, you knew you were going to get a shift, but it was probably going to be ultimately rather disappointing up front and perhaps a bit disappointing defensively as well. You just don't know what you're going to get from them now. And I think, actually, the opposition don't either. They certainly can't be underestimated. They've shown this weekend that you can't write them off either. And there's a bit more going on up front. It's also another little reunion with our old friend Ben Pringle, isn't it? I
was just going to bring him into this. Ben Pringle's on loan there from Fulham. He's scored a couple since he's been there, actually. And he's playing a lot more regularly. Dave, is he a man that Rotherham are going to have to keep their eyes on?
I think definitely he is. He's been an hard man to replace, hasn't he? I mean, it didn't quite work out for him at Fulham, which is strange when considering their form that they can't somehow utilise Ben Pringle. So he is, but it's a unit thing, isn't it, with Ipswich? They're just good as a unit. They're tough to take on as a team. So I think it's important to look at this run and realise that Rotherham have a little bit of good fortune as well. There was a disallowed goal at Sheffield Wednesday. David Nugent didn't bring his shooting boots last week, did he? And Derby should have been in the clear. But the 2 games previous to that, Reading and Burnley, Rotherham didn't have the rub of the green either in them.
And even against Brentford, you could say with that dubious penalty, they returned from that. So it does even itself out, possibly.
Scratch beneath this surface, and you can see they've had a bit of fortune, but they've earned it. And let's hope we just keep getting a bit as well.
It's for the top 10 team though, and they've always struggled against Rotherham this season.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a league table of Rotherham against the top half sides and against the bottom half sides. It would be improving in both respects, but perhaps because the pressure's off a little bit when they go and play these top half teams, it does seem to galvanise them slightly and turn in some good results. By the time we reach that MK game in a few weeks' time, things might have changed dramatically yet again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's one to keep his eyes on. Let's get the predictions for Saturday's game then. Tough trip to Ipswich, there's no doubt about that. Talking about 1 game too far, Neil Warnock said after the game that he's planning on giving his players a couple of days off this week to really rest their legs and hopefully they can pick themselves up and go again. Dave, what are you thinking is going to happen down in Ipswich?
It's a tough one to call this. I think Neil and his players will probably take a draw, and that's where I'll settle for as well. So I'll pitch for a 2-2.
Oh, high scoring.
I don't think it's going to be quite so high scoring. I think it'll probably be a 1-1 draw. I think without wanting to single anyone out, I think return to the side for Richard Wood would be absolutely pivotal after what happened on Saturday.
Well, we spoke to him, didn't we, before the game, Dave, and he said that he thought he was fit, but he felt a little tweak and told the manager, and he thought it best to leave it out. So he's really hoping that he's back for the Ipswich game, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And in terms of freshening the side up, who's staked a better claim to getting the team than Leon Best? If he wants to freshen his team up, rest a few people, Best ready and waiting, isn't he?
Over the last couple of games, he has swapped Danny Ward and Best, hasn't he? It's been one or the other. So it'd be interesting. They did show on Saturday that they could potentially play as a two. I mean, Danny Ward set up that equaliser for Leon Best with a great piece of skill on the edge of the area to flick it over the defender's head. So there is potential there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Is it? I mean, Best has still been inching his way back to fitness. This is why this rotation thing. It's keeping him on the toes. Why not? Keep rotating
and keep him fresh and keep him energised, because only 9 games to go now.
And you never know, they could have Becky back soon. Right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and thank you at home for listening. Remember to pick up your Rotherham Advertiser on Friday for all the reaction from Saturday's miraculous draw against Derby County, as well as all the preview pieces looking forward to Saturday's game at Ipswich. Once again, thank you very much for listening.